Greetings, everyone. It's a very snowy day here on January 26th in northeastern Ohio. We hope that you had a good holiday season, and now that you're back to school, you're ready to work on your video recording and do some editing to it. And as always, I'm Barb Moore. I'm broadcasting here from Western Reserve Public Media in Kent, Ohio. And my compadre, Jeff Good, happens to be handling all the technical stuff down at ITSCO in Columbus. So I'm ready to get started here. A couple of housekeeping things that we need to talk about. I want to remind you that by now you should have submitted all of your current lesson plans and storyboards to your content experts by now. I think that we may have had a little bit of confusion about where all that needs to go. So I am going to actually go back to how do I submit my storyboard. If you have created your storyboard on Google Docs, you should just be able to submit your files in the normal way that is delineated here in the Submitting Files, Help, and How To. Things are running a little slowly today, I've noticed, and so it might take a moment to get that information up. But all of your files should follow the defined naming conventions, and so for your lesson plan, you should have district, last name, and lesson plan is what you're calling it. And for your storyboard, it should be district, last name, and lesson plan. And I would remind you that if you are submitting your files, you need to go into the sharing section of Google Docs, and you need to open it up so that it can be shared with anybody with the link or anybody on the web, everyone on the web. One of the things that may have fallen through the cracks here just a little bit is, for instance, if you are a math teacher and you are submitting to your content expert, if you just go down to Math, Submit to Content Expert, you're actually going to find a form that you need to fill out for us to be able to see it in our Google spreadsheet. The red marked areas are required, so you need to include your first name, last name, and your email, and with your school district listed, and whether or not it's a lesson plan or a storyboard. Now, what you need to do is to paste the link to your lesson plan or storyboard down here in this field. That's the one that you're going to take from your shared option part of your document. In addition, if you have support materials, you can include those at any point in time. And as always, the most important thing for you to do before you, or when you're completely finished, is to click on the Submit button. That then allows your documents links to go into our spreadsheet, and then we can see just exactly what it is you're submitting. I'm going to actually go back here and stop sharing, and I'm going to go back then to being available here on the screen, and I want to talk to you then a little bit more about this in a little while. Do you have any questions, anybody who's out there, about that whole idea of how you're going to submit anything that you're sending to us? If not, we'll go on then and talk a little bit about the video recording and editing that you should be knee-deep in right now.
Barb, I don't want to interrupt you, but I had sent off a chat. This is Jeff.
Okay.
We had a meeting today, and was determined, due to some of the delays that some of the folks had, that occurred with some of the folks in the reviews of their lesson plans and storyboards. I'm telling everyone to check their emails that they've included for this project. in that email, for the life of me, short-term memory is horrible, but for the life of me, I can't remember if we were going to extend the deadline by a week or 2 weeks. So everyone needs to check their emails, and it's going to give an overview of the deadlines have been extended for the items that you need for your project.
Great. Okay, that sounds good. And we'll check those too so that we know exactly what we're doing. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about the whole idea behind your video recording and editing process, and I'm going to share with you a slide presentation that was given to you at the August Professional Development. This was about developing showcase examples, and I will show you in a minute where you can find that on the website. I will just call to your attention a couple of things. There needs to be one video per teacher. So if there's a team of 2 teachers, each of those teachers needs to submit a video along with lesson plans. Your videos should be 5 to 10 minutes in length, and they're due on February 27th. When you prepared your storyboards, you took a look at several elements, and your first element is that you needed to evaluate your goal for the movie, and then break that down into clips. Just a reminder, you're not going to shoot your whole video from start to finish in one shoot. You're going to have numerous clips, and then I'm going to show you where you can find a video that talks to you about how to take those clips and put them together. I'll remind you also that your talking as a teacher should be no more than 25% of the video. And you should have enough time within that 25% to explain enough of the activity for those who are viewing the video to understand the process and exactly what took place. And then you'll also be speaking about what the setup activity was and explain what is taking place during the video. The rest of the video should be your students talking, anyone who came in to take a look at the project at the end talking, and lots of other folks. We're suggesting that you avoid any background music for copyright issues so that you don't have to deal with all of that. And just like on the television, background music often can become too loud, and it's impossible for us to hear then what the students are saying. You'll definitely want to shoot a lot more video clips than you think you need. And you want to keep them short and manageable, probably no more than 10, at the most 15 frames within a clip. And you can also capture any still images that you want to include within your iPad, and then you'll have access to it. Have a lot of fun with your video, and try to keep your audience in mind as you capture the footage. Right now, I'm hoping that you're in the post-production process and that you're doing your editing and including titles, subtitles, and credits for the work that was done. If you need to create some translations and do your final adjustments and checks. And then you'll be preparing your video for online and offline distribution, which we'll talk about in just a minute. As was suggested in August, you can download iMovie for $4.99. And iMovie is a great tool to help you piece together the movie clips and pictures that you will be using to create your movie. You can also record your voice clips over the top of the film and add any music that you might want to use and any other audio as it's needed. The final thing that you'll do is share your movie, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how to share it with us and we'll be sharing it with ODE, and also about how to share it on YouTube. At this point, I'm going to go back then to our webinar, our Hangout, and answer any questions that you might have about the video recording and editing. We have a whole group of experts sitting in a room listening to us, and they can give you all kinds of tips. And I'm going to also mention that Judy Tucker, who is sitting in on our Hangout, also did a fabulous 10 tips for shooting good videos and editing them as well. That's back on the December Hangout page down at the bottom. So any questions or anything that we can clear up for you as far as the video recording and editing is concerned?
Hi, Barb. Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, I had received an email from one of our participants, and they had a really great question, and I wanted to share it with everyone. They were concerned that when they had told their parents that some of their students could be on YouTube, that their parents were concerned, and the recommendation or the question that came back to me was, what can I do to make sure if that student doesn't show up in the video? And I hated to be very simplistic with it, but my response was, then make sure that the student is not in the video that you shoot. So if you're doing general cover video and you've got some students that for whatever reason, and there's I can tell you a lot of interesting video stories over the years that I've dealt with, for whatever reason, if your parents are a little reluctant to have your students' faces shown in a video, you either don't make sure you don't include those students, or you just do a lot of shots of your students. If you have a group of your students, shoot them from behind. So as long as you're not seeing their faces. So that's just one of the questions that came out, and I just wanted to throw that out to you.
Thanks, Jeff. That's a very good tip. Anyone else have any questions or anything that you'd like to know about shooting the videos? Okay. Well, we're going to keep this Hangout short and sweet. It looks like a lot of schools were closed today, and will probably be watching us on the uptake on YouTube. And so what I'd like to do is tell you that there are a couple of ways that you can get help with your video if you'd like it. One way is to shoot me an email, and I'll be glad to send your questions to our video experts, and I've just put my email down there at the bottom, bjmoore73@gmail.com. The other thing that you can do is that you can talk to the person that you're working with through iTip in order to get your questions answered. And then finally, there's a third way for you to receive a wealth of information about the whole process of shooting and editing a video. And I'm sharing right now with you the Ohio Teacher Showcase website. Within the website, we have included some great information as far as capturing and editing videos is concerned. If you go to the Capturing and Editing Video over under Learning Resources, you'll find a great video done by the science guy, or the science man, and he actually takes you through the whole process of putting together your movie using iMovie after you have shot your clips. And I want to play just a small segment of this so that you can see how valuable this particular tutorial is. He's coming on in a minute.
Hi, and welcome to a iMovie 2.0 tutorial for beginners. I'll try and cover as much as I can, but if I check out the description, I'll put a link in there to Apple's tutorial site for iMovie 2.0. Now, let's get started. Across the top of the screen, you'll see three choices: video, projects, theater. Theater is basically the iCloud way of sharing your clips, movies, and trailers. For instance, watching on your Apple TV. What we're going to focus on, though, in this tutorial is creating projects and actually editing video. Speaking of video, if we tap the video choice, you will see all the clips that are on your iPad that you've recorded. Now, I was out earlier today and made some clips, some recordings of myself and my cats and my fish, so they're all on here. And one of them up here you can see is marked with a green line. That's because when you go in and preview clips, and I'll just watch this one, I'll just watch it right through, as hideous as it is. I can stop at any time by tapping on the screen. I can tap the heart on the right side to favorite it. Now notice the green line went away. If you tap it again, the green line will appear. And that's just a convenient way of marking a clip for when we go into the project later. It makes it easier to find. Notice that we can also speed up these clips if we want. So it'll go at 2 times speed, or we can slow it down using the turtle. Pretty obvious. Now that we know how to view our clips, let's get started with a project. So I'm going to tap the projects at the top of the screen, and then I'm going to tap the crosshairs and create a new project. Now you can choose to make a movie trailer.
Okay, I'm going to stop him right now and give you the opportunity then to watch the other 16 minutes of this very good video. It's very worthwhile. He'll talk to you about using your clips, using your stills, and doing lots of other things using iMovie. Another thing that I would like to call to your attention is that there is a section over under online resources about iMovie guides, and I'll take you out to that. And it will actually redirect you to the Apple guides that are available for you to do some of the fancier things that they don't talk about in the Science Guy videos. And they're coming up here, so if you want to add a title in iMovie for iPad, how to add and edit audio, how to upload your iMovie video, there are actually 2 pages of additional video tutorials that will give you tips and tricks, more of them, about how to create your video. Another place where you can find some more information is if we go to the monthly Hangout and look at the January 27th Hangout page. I've actually added a couple of things to Padlet, and once this catches up with us, you'll see that I have pointed out to you the places where you can go to find out more information about recording and editing your video. The only thing that I did not put in there was what I mentioned earlier about Judy Tucker's 10 tips. In addition to that, I've also given you more information about submitting your lesson plan and your video. And I will go back up here to submitting files and go down to final, submit your lesson plan and video. Again, you need to fill out a form. This one's a different form from the one that you've been using in the past. So make sure that you include your lesson plan and video URLs and paste the link to those in the boxes provided. And you also want to then be sure that you submit the form so it gets to our Google Doc. There also is some additional information under the help and how-to about tutorials about uploading documents to Google Drive and then submitting documents using a Google form. So I want to be sure that we're all on the same page about doing all of these things, including uploading your videos to YouTube by using the iPad. And so as I change back here to our Hangout, I'll ask, are there any questions about the submission process or about where you can find additional information about creating your videos. Okay, well, if not, then I will remind you that each participant who is attending the Google Hangout or watching us on YouTube should go to the January 26th Google Hangout, and you'll find more information about the presentation and the final evaluation at this URL. Everyone needs to fill out an evaluation. Those are very helpful to us in creating our next Hangout, which, by the way, happens to be on February 23rd. We'll be dealing with collaboration and with technology. And I'll remind you that your lesson video, again, is due on February 27th, and your reflection video will be due on March 31st. Our March 16th Google Hangout is going to be about viewer's choice. You'll have the opportunity at our next Hangout to talk to us about what you'd like to see us do in the Hangout. And in addition to that, we're going to ask you to do some sharing about the SAMR model and how your video and your project has fit into it. If there are no more questions or concerns or comments, Jeff, anything from your side, or Judy?
Kathy's just so quiet.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask Kathy how everything's moving along with her project.
I just sent you an email because the last 6 weeks have been real difficult.
Okay.
So I don't really want to talk about it online.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Okay. Jeff, Judy, anything for the good of the cause?
I think one of the things I wanted to stress before everyone left and those that are watching it online is the need to storyboards. I think there are still some folks that have some storyboards out there, and I know it gets. I think Barb touched on it a little bit. It might get a little confusing when you're filling out the Google form, but make sure you provide that link for your storyboards. You know, Barb, I think you can speak to it. Maybe Judy, you can too. We've tried to get back feedback on the connection with the SAMR and the technology, right? Barb, is that what we've done last? You did it with some folks.
Yes, that is. Exactly.
And what did you do for that, Barb?
I went into the spreadsheet and I found the link to the storyboards, and I actually made suggestions to each of the participants who have submitted those, and the ones that I was able to look at looked good. I may have made a few suggestions for connections to the SAMR model that they can take a look at and include then in their final lesson plans with their videos. So that's the process that I went through. Now, we did notice that there were some folks who hadn't gotten their storyboards turned in, but that could have been part of what you addressed in that email that you sent to everyone today.
Right, and we certainly understand that some of the responses to your lesson plans as well as your storyboards, I know I received some information from folks that they were afraid to do their storyboards until their lesson plans received the information they needed from their content expert. So now that we received that, and hopefully you all have received that, the next step obviously is, if you haven't turned your storyboards in, to do that, and we will. I say we, it's the Queen's we. It's more Barb that ends up doing most of that. Now, Judy, have you done some connecting with the SAMR models and given folks some review on the SAMR model and their storyboards? Looks like it's a no.
Yes. Yeah,
oh,
no.
Yes. Okay.
I actually was at Seneca East back in December with John and Rick on their storyboards, but a few of my people were the science subject areas, and I knew there were some issues with their content experts. So, yes, I've given. I don't think since in 2 weeks I have given any feedback.
Okay.
On any ones that were turned in the last 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. So that gives you an idea, folks that are watching live and folks that might watch this later. If you haven't, if you've got some reluctancy and you're thinking, I don't think I turned my storyboards in, make sure you get those in. And like I said, we'll do the review. And that way, as Barb said, both Barb and Judy, the thing that we've done is kind of give you an overview of when you're shooting the video, what are some things you can add to add technology to that video, the use of technology. Because the bottom line is this Teacher Showcase is really looking at highlighting how teachers are effectively using technology in their classroom and that connection to some of those common core areas. So I'll be quiet now.
Oh, really?
Well, no, not really.
Okay, well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Kathy. Hope everything's okay. And I think we'll sign off here and look forward to our next Hangout on February 23rd. Hope you have a good month between now and then.
And be careful traveling, everyone. Have a great watch. By the time we meet again, maybe the snow will be gone. Yeah, right. Okay, bye.
Yeah, right. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.